Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Interview with the Dracula. I'm your host, as always, Actual Dracula. And I'm really excited, guys. My guest tonight is absolutely one of my favorite artists working in comics today. His work spans many different titles over many different genres. Currently, he's working on Bunny Mask from AfterShock, Parasomnia from Dark Horse, as well as Maniac of New York and the upcoming Maniac in New York, The Bronx is Burning.
Yeah.
Let's give a rousing round of applause for Andrea Mutti.
Hi
All right,
guys, thank you so much
Andrea.
for having me. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time. You're
Yeah,
so
thanks.
patient.
Thank you for coming on.
My pleasure.
Absolutely. Yeah, we were supposed to do this, I guess, earlier in the week, but we had a bit of technical difficulties. But it's all good because you're here now, and
What the hell? Yeah,
it
sorry for that.
happens. Anyone that has a YouTube channel knows that it comes with the territory. Things
Yeah,
happen.
I know. I was worried today also because I saw a couple of tracks from Comcast. And, oh no! Once again,
Yeah.
you know.
Oh my God. Yeah, I used to have. Thankfully, my internet's been good over the past couple of years, but before that, it was going out like every day for months, and there was nothing that
I think
seemingly
we
they
have a
could do.
generator pretty old over here,
Mhm.
and need to change that, but they going on to fixing and fixing and fixing.
Mhm.
Saying this stuff, please.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Now, I'm sure as many people have guessed from your accent, you live in Florida,
yeah,
correct?
yeah.
That
I'm acceptable.
signature panhandle accent, I'd recognize it anywhere. No, of course, you are from Italy,
Yeah.
from Brescia in the north,
Yep.
which we were just discussing a bit earlier. I got my ski Dolomites
Look at
hats.
this.
And no offense to the great state of Florida or anyone that lives there, but by God, I hope you have a good reason for moving from Italy to Florida, because it's it's my favorite place in the world. So when did you move there?
So we moved 3 years ago. The
Mhm.
plan actually was to stay just for 1 year because I had some production in Los Angeles for my TV shows upcoming, we'll see. And for me, up and down from Italy was really tough. At the same time, my two kids, two sons, it's pretty old now, won a scholarship from the college and the high school. So okay, we can stay for a while,
Yeah.
1 year. But once here, Florida, it's Sarasota, it's a paradise on earth, and okay, you can stay forever. And I think it's the life. Italy is beautiful place ever for sure.
Yeah.
But I came from the north, so super cold. The mountains, lakes, nice. But here it's 12 days
Different.
on warm. It's definitely better for me. No cold enough.
Yeah.
No, it's enough for me.
I understand. The older I get, the more I understand why people, when they retire, move to Florida, because I'm almost 40 and I've seen enough Canadian winters to last a lifetime. I would not mind living somewhere
Yeah,
warmer.
and we are pretty wild family, so we really love nature, the
Mhm.
wildlife. America can still have some really wilderness places, So it's my place. It's full of animals. It's great fishing
Amazing.
with my boats with the kids. It's
Yeah,
my life.
Florida is great for fishing, no doubt
You know,
about it.
yeah, no
Yeah,
way. A sunset from the
yeah,
boat is something, guys.
yeah, absolutely. I did want to know a bit about your origins. What were some of the comic books that you read growing up? And I guess what made you want to make comics? What were.
So I started to read comics very earlier. I mean, I was 5 years old. I was a little in advance to reading. I always loved reading. And as Italian, I started to read Bonelli is one of the most popular comic publishers in Italy, as I can say in the world.
Mhm.
And with Zagor, Ken Parker, Tex Wheeler, and the sort of Western style, and my favorite at the age. And of course, I had time to get Marvel comics and DC comics from the States. So I was a premature reader. I mean, I was really curious about the storytelling, the image movement. I started to work and the drawing. I was super young, like in the kindergarten, and for me, tell something was good. Not only draw something, but to tell something. I remember very clear that my first pages, I think 6 years old, and there was panels by panels, the story at the beginning, at the end, something, not just a big boy or Superman or Batman. I'd like to involve my readers.
Yeah,
For fun. Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah, and Italy's always been kind of one of the bigger markets for comic books in terms of like
yeah,
there's lots of European comics, but I know
totally.
Marvel has always their like Spider-Man comics have always been available there, and but another market that's also huge, of course, is the French market, which you have done a lot of work and
Yeah,
you did a
a
lot of
lot.
work on French
Yeah,
comics.
yes.
Do you speak French?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
A petit peu.
Yeah, because I'm wondering how that, you've done quite a few French comics. Were you guys were you working from a French script or was it in
I
English
usually work
or
for French script, right?
yeah.
Right. So it's pretty easy for me to read French
Hmm.
in case I can use the translator,
Yeah.
just in case. But for speak by emails for the details or for discussion in English mostly. But
Hmm.
I can understand speaking not super good, but I try.
Yeah. I think it's a shame because I have no doubt so many incredible comic books coming out of other countries, Italy, France, Germany, other places all over the world that in North America we'll probably never get to. Maybe very few people will see them or even know about them, which is a shame. Do you know, like, has much of that work ever been translated into English and then
So
even made it over?
you mean some of my job, or with the French for my part? The French market mostly is about historical events.
Hmm.
So it's a very particular sector of the comics production. So I have
Right.
some translation for my thriller or bipolar or sci-fi mystery story. For example, The Sin of Cain, I think gonna be published in the United States very soon. It's one of my favorite French book I ever did because it's very close to my feelings, my passions.
And that's
And
called The City of Cain?
no, Syndrome of
Oh,
Cain.
syndrome.
The
Okay,
Syndrome
okay,
of
yeah.
Cain.
Mhm,
And 5 books, and they worked really well 10 years ago. But
mm,
it's really solid book. Nico Taken is a huge writer, and we had a good relationship with work together. Was super great. For the rest, uh, I told you the historical fiction in America is not mainstream comics. So I think this is the reason why there's not much French books in the US stores, but
right.
totally different approach of the reading. So very slow. The French are very slow reading,
Mhm.
so maybe less actions, very talkative. Maybe it's like theatrical, something like theater. The action, the movement, the language of the comics. It's much more direct, much more easy if you want. At the
Mhm.
same time, deep in another way.
I mean, I guess now, in the past, it would have been much more difficult. Although, if you live in, say, a larger city like Toronto or New York, there are smaller shops that cater to not only independent books but foreign books as well. I know there's a shop here in Toronto where I probably could be able to find something like that.
Yes, in
Although,
Canada, there's plenty of yeah, plenty of comics. Yeah,
mhm,
yeah,
especially French stuff.
yeah,
But now, this is stuff that it doesn't matter. There's no borders really. If you can find something online, you can order it and have it
yeah.
shipped to you. And
A good story is a good story.
yeah,
Normally.
absolutely. And speaking of good stories, I'm certain I'd come across your work previously, but for me, it was Bunny Mask that
Mhm.
immediately upon reading it, I went, okay, Andrea Mutti, I have to remember this man's name because it was fantastic. Your style,
Thank you.
the fact that you were working in watercolors, your abilities as a storyteller, these things all really stood out to me in Bunny Mask.
Thank you
Um,
so much. Appreciate
and
it.
it's a difficult book to discuss without giving away any spoilers, but I always tell people read Bunny Mask. I give it my highest recommendation. Now, could you talk a bit about your experience working on that title, like how it came about, and I guess what ultimately you've taken away from that as an
For
artist.
sure. But I was finishing the Maniac of New York, and Mike from AfterShock and Christina Harrington told me that we have a new story for you, Andrea. You're gonna love it. And I know Paul Tobin for a while. Many times we talk together. We have to work together, man. Totally, yes. One day for sure, and it's gonna happen. It's happened. And when I received the concept, the script, the outline, well, what the hell this guy is talking about? It's really uh, psychological, very sick, and at the same time very visual. But in this thing, this is not a classic horror with full of blood or slashing, or, it's subtle, but I think it's really, really terrific in the bad side of the meaning of the word, because it's really. Bunny Mac, for example, in the first arc appears a few moments in 100 pages, maybe 5 times, but is a kind of presence all around the story with the sound voice in your head. I was feeling like like a distressing. Oh, what the hell? Maybe it's I see my this voice in my head.
It's definitely distressing. Yeah,
And I think
absolutely.
the good thing is a very simple design, but
Mhm.
very effective. But for I don't know. I mean, I'm not the genius. Oh, I had to create something. I just for when I read the script, okay, let's do that. That's one sketch
It
and that's it.
it's perfect. I absolutely love it.
Is it sexy? Is sometimes it's super scary.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's like okay, it's here, not maybe. There's no. You're always on the tension on the border, no? Yes or
Absolutely, the
no?
tension,
Maybe.
it's ultimately, it's intriguing. You don't
Exactly.
know if you should be going towards it or moving away from it, you know?
I think
Yeah.
it's great because every single page is start for the first panel starting with a point mark. What wow, and the end like a question mark. Like you want to turn over the page and what's going on? Every single page is always
Which actually, that brings up my next point. I had a question because I had the pleasure of speaking with, Paul Tobin, the writer of Bunny Mask.
holy crap.
It was probably about a month or 2 ago, and he told me, and I want you to confirm this because I want both sides of the story, but he told me, that when he would send you the script, but that you wouldn't read the whole thing. That you would read the page and draw it, and then
Absolutely, no spoiler.
and then you would say to him, "Oh, Paul, I really like this character. Is she going to be okay? What happens on the next page?" But you have all the pages. Is that
No,
true?
I think it's a kind of secret. The rule is read page by page. I still remain a reader before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, I'm a creator, but before I consider myself, so I don't want to lose the surprise. Even because even for my job, for my instinct to draw something, when I saw or read something for the first time, I have kind of impact, like a feeling. So this feeling is emotional. So I can put something on a page powerful, more power than I know page 3 gonna be this one. Oh, page 4, page 7. I know okay, this is gonna die. No, I don't want to know. I prefer to get in the dark. So it's fantastic. I think one of the most funny things in my job. Come on,
Yeah, yeah,
no way.
absolutely.
Yeah,
I anyways, that was I just thought that was a kind of a funny story. But Paul was a really great guy. I really enjoyed talking to him. So
it's
I
okay.
imagine
I love him.
he seems like a pretty easygoing guy, pretty easy to work with.
You
So
know, with Paul, as with Elliot from Maniac of New York, or with Cullen Bunn,
mhm.
and I have to say, I am super lucky boy because every single writer with me is a kind of brother, became a brother. I mean, when you share the same passion, you want the same thing, the same goal, it's easy. And I think the job have to be executed all the time in that way. You can share the ideas, we can talk about something, but when you're on the same track, it's difficult to get wrong because
Yeah,
you know
absolutely. And in this medium, that's absolutely key. You've got to be, in sync, or
yeah,
you
We
know.
don't consider myself or the same level. So
Mhm.
just get fun. That's fun.
Yeah, yeah,
So
absolutely.
and
Uh,
tell me something good first of all.
yes. Yes, definitely. I just want to highlight this comment here about Parasomnia, which I would was just about to mention. Evil's comics here saying, "I love his art in Parasomnia. Bunny Mask is great too, but Parasomnia, your art is magically adds to the story." And
Oh, thank
absolutely,
you.
I would say so. This is another title you're working on from Dark Horse Comics, written by Cullen Bunn, right? Who
Yeah.
you just mentioned. Um, and yeah, absolutely, the art in this is also incredible. Now, I have no doubt that this story, where you have like two parallel realities, it's got to present a lot of interesting opportunities artistically. I mean, I noticed right away, I'm sure as anyone who has read it, that one of those things would be, your choice of palette, there being a distinct difference between the two worlds, in terms of the palette you've chosen, which I know for you is a very big thing. Now, how did you approach this story in
So
regards to how in regards to
Persomnia,
how
yeah,
you're going to illustrate the separate
yeah.
reality?
Persomnia, I think it's a really good concept, and for an artist like me, it's a kind of heaven. I mean, you are totally free to put everything in that world. And my point was, as you can see, my colors are really um, classic color. I mean, descriptions colors. I try
Mhm.
to put some vibes on the colors. I mean, it's that kind of I try to add some vibes, some feelings. Not the sky is blue, the grass is red, green, blah blah blah. Happens, but I'd like to get the emotion of the moment. So maybe some flashy, some pop colors to grab the reader inside the story. And in Parasomnia, especially when the two words can be switched, you have these gray tones, very misty, like you remember the book of Ali at the beginning of with Denzel Washington with the gray place of Mad Max,
Mhm.
but we're in the
Yeah.
in the forest or in the woods, and with this red cape is totally in contrast with it's very clean, very bright in these woods, and we have the yellow of the terror. So most highly with like Lord of the Rings, like something really moody, with smoky, misty, and it's I enjoyed to do this kind of pages because I can feel my soul inside the pages. I think that and the readers get it. I with the comments, with the reviews, even privately, I'm so happy because my purpose was exactly that one. So get some emotional pages, something very narrative, and we get it. So it's really fantastic with the monsters. Even this, you see the man with no name seems uh, a colonier, from the first 13 colonies of the 17th century, but in the same time, in this strange world with strange creatures, with strange face and bodies, some details, but here and there, some no, is something odd, but in a good way.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Um, but yeah, I absolutely love that. Like you were saying, that vibe or that mood you create just by your choice of say whether it's washing out a whole page in something, or just that has definitely, I think, come across to the readers. It has for me anyhow, that you're creating an emotion, and you can definitely feel that.
Thank you.
Um,
For me, it's very important because watercolors, it's a bit old-fashioned style.
mhm,
It's kind of against the classic digital stuff. It's that is good, but sometimes in the digital work, in my opinion, it, too much art are looks like the same. Makes sense? The same vibe.
right.
So
Yeah.
if for me, as reader, as an artist, is kind of a limit. I want to push myself over the edge if I can and when I can. Not because I'm better than others. No, no, no. It's because okay, it's good, but seems it's something too familiar. Makes sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And while we're on this topic, of say of color, I I had to bring this up because you were recently on a podcast, the C List Villains podcast, great channel.
Yeah, agree.
And I highly recommend everyone sub them up. Anyhow, I had to bring them up because you mentioned that you prefer the taste of blue paint to others.
Yeah.
You were talking about how, yeah, sometimes you're gonna get paint in your mouth.
Because, yeah, because the blue is one of the the primary colors, and it's combination of the yellow, the green, and so,
Yeah,
the blue is not just one color, but it's more.
yeah,
But blue could be soft, could be cold, but even warm. So blue sky, it's warm,
yes,
for example. But is underground subways blue is dark, so it's cold. It's simple blue. So it depends on where you apply the color and how, if the intensity. That's why I love to test maybe different paper. In Sarasota,
mhm,
we have plenty of art shop, and for me, it's like a paradise. I testing different paper, different brushes, different type of watercolors from Japan, from Europe, from America. It's awesome. I When you work with the brush, I taste the color with my mouth for
mhm,
it's normal. So
yeah,
they have a taste. It makes sense. So it's
yes.
something really
Do you,
concrete. It's
now, do you have an official ranking of colors by how delicious they are?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
For example, the yellow is super for me. It's a bit bitter.
yeah.
The brownish is a bit better. It's something a bit
That
sweet.
that's interesting. You said yellow is
Yeah,
bitter because I was gonna ask you if burnt umber tastes burnt.
yeah. Yeah. For example,
Yeah,
for the brownish,
yes,
I use the coffee.
yeah.
I
Oh,
I,
okay.
I
Well, there
use
you
the,
go.
yeah. I use the Italian coffee, very strong, super dense. It's
Mhm.
very strong. I put just maybe a bit of dark of ink, black ink, but just a little bit,
Yeah,
and then I melt it up, and I wait for half an hour, and
yeah,
the coffee go down, and this is kind of brownish. My pages, time and time, smells from coffee, not because I don't have the coffee on the pages, but because the colors are And
yeah.
one time,
Coffee works excellent
yeah,
as
and
as
you know
as
what?
paint. Yeah,
One time I was in Utah. Never been here. It's awesome. I
I
love
have
Utah.
not. No.
Yeah, it's awesome. Red place, red country. So
Yeah.
I get some sand from the desert.
Mhm.
I try to use the sand with some mixture of colors, and I create a, a special red brownish color that I love it. So, for example, just for fun, just for try,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean that's what paint is, right? It's a pigment, it's minerals, and
yeah, minerals.
whatever medium you're putting it in. So
It's
yeah,
fun.
amazing. Um, now one because I don't you no I know you don't have too long, but there was a
No,
couple other
no,
things I wanted to
don't worry.
get to.
Go ahead.
Um, one of the other books that you worked on was Maniac of New York, which is about Harry, this masked character, Harry the Maniac, who's terrorizing New York City through mass murder. Um, Now, I think you pulled off something really amazing here, really spectacular. And by that, I mean, you have Harry, who's this um, unstoppable force with a mask and machete like weapon, which, I couldn't help but be reminded of Jason Voorhees from Friday the 13th.
Yeah,
But only initially, because like as soon as I started reading it, all that kind of like went out the window for me because you somehow somehow managed to make this character even more terrifying, I suppose. Perhaps because Jason takes his time and Harry just racks up the body count pretty quickly.
yeah,
But I have to give kudos to both you and Elliot the writer, because although there's similarities are there, I don't think about that at all when I'm reading it. I only see Harry. um, and so I understand your inspiration for Harry's mask was not so much Jason's mask, but as it was a Venetian mask.
exactly.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Vision mask, and as I told you in the previous
Hmm.
interviews, I have this mask in my hand
Yeah.
many times in Italy, and I'd like I was thinking, okay, what I can do for the white mask, Okay, and my wife wearing at the time a kind of shirt, white and red.
Hmm.
Look at that. Good idea. I take look at wait. So we have the real one.
Oh, there it is.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. I try to I
amazing.
oh see okay, that's why.
I love it.
You know,
I
I
don't have.
use it once
Yeah.
again. I try to get something real, not only a mask, but I try
Hmm.
to build a real mask because it's very important for the shadow, for the movement, and for the eyes. This funny thing, for example, for the Maniac, Elliot is a great writer, first of all, but the eyes of Harry, if you take a look, seems moving like the Spider-Man eyes. Sometimes you can
Yeah.
see the real eyes behind the mask. Sometimes it's a void place. So what the hell is some magical stuff there? Is it a different level of narrations? No, so as I told you before, and as you said at the beginning, it seems Jason, okay, that I know that guy, but page by page seems different, and the evolution of the character is amazing. And for
Yeah.
me, even the characters like Gina, Zelda, even the kids. It's the normal way of the violence. So it's incredible. No? You see in the subway, you get the subway every day, every single day. In full pandemic, there was you wear the mask. It's funny.
Yeah,
Fun, yeah.
and there is something inherently creepy about Venetian masks. I mean, this, for example, is
Yeah. Whoa,
right.
terrifying. Terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No matter what, it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that's
But at the beginning, I
unique.
try to I think about that kind of mask, but the big
Mhm.
nose it is too weird with the movement. It's I
Yeah.
always try to be realistic. I mean, it's a comics and it's funny, it's fantastic. Okay, but for some details, I'd like to be not stupid. So big nose in the subways with the poles, and we can bring some. Come on, it's too silly. So
Yeah.
be serious.
And I was gonna mention that because when we were talking about Bunny Mask, which is very much a psychological horror, not so much about the gore, but clearly from something from Maniac in New York, you are your depiction of just gore and brutal violence, I must
Yeah.
say, is excellent. You do
Thank
you
you.
do you do you enjoy? I mean, for me personally, I don't like violence, at least not real violence, but
Mhm.
this horror, cartoon violence, over the top stuff. I've always something about that I've always liked. I mean, is that
Yeah,
something that?
yeah, I agree. But with Maniac, the violence is really high.
Hmm.
Too high, so it became like a Tarantino movie. So like
Yeah,
in Kill Bill, is extreme
exactly.
violence. So you are too far. So it become I can say funny. I mean,
Yeah,
interesting because it's
almost.
makes
Yeah.
makes sense. It's not. There are many in the volume two. There are a couple of pages that for me are super violent, but nothing happens. I mean, nothing happens. But you see,
Yeah.
this is the
Yeah.
real violence. This is
Yeah.
a kind of uh, level of violence in extreme level. So it became you are like a transfer. I'm out of this stuff. You mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, the first arc of Maniac of New York in New York wrapped up after 5 issues, but Harry is returning in December.
Yes.
In Maniac of New York, the Bronx is burning. Can you tell us anything about that?
Not much, but I can say so. We are super happy to bring back all the main characters, so Harry,
Hmm.
Zelda, Gina, Lena, and the mayor, and there are a couple of new guys, and there is maybe a school, hmm?
Yeah.
and but it's once again the great thing. I don't know, maybe he's gonna kill me. I don't know. I can't say that, but
Yeah.
the the beginning it's incredible. So, I mean, in some way, what the super easy idea, but at the same time, it's kind of genius. Elliot Karen is really great writer, and he put some. realistic details like the modern age, like the kids of the TikTok or the stupid stuff when you're recording a fight, for example. And even when you have to approach to face of this incredible violence, incredible events, because Harry is something, the words still work like a stupid. I mean, do something. Don't do something stupid. Do something good. So it's really it's subtle but subtle
Well,
but
I'm really looking forward to it. And speaking of, I suppose, continuation of the story, and AfterShock just announced this week, as Bunny, final issue of Bunny Mask came out this week, but AfterShock announced that Volume 2 is coming out as well.
yeah,
So
exactly.
that's another one I know myself and many others are looking forward to seeing,
I'm
the
keeping busy.
continuation
Thank God.
of Bunny Mask. So
Yes. And another
that's another one I imagine there's not much you can tell us about that, but I don't want you to, because what I love about that book is just seeing
I did
where it's going to
anything.
go. Yeah.
I have script one in my computer. I did the 4 pages for the promotion, and I don't want to read anything else.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm tempted, but no.
Yes. So now, this being Interview with the Dracula, and I am actual Dracula, I would be remiss. I would be remiss if I didn't mention that you, I suppose, are no stranger to Dracula, in that you illustrated this Vlad
Oh
Dracul.
yeah, Vlad Dracul.
This
Yes,
is a 3-issue series from Scout Comics,
yes, it is.
written by Matteo Strukul. Is
Yes,
it?
it is.
Uh, Now, I highly recommend this. This, of course, is not about Bram Stoker's character Count Dracula, but
No.
rather the inspiration, the one and only voivode of Wallachia, Vlad Dracul, aka Vlad the Impaler.
Yes,
Um,
he's a bad guy.
yeah, I mean, I loved it. It does tell. Of course, I knew. I was familiar with his story. It's this, and this tells the story of Vlad. As he was the ruler of Wallachia and his battles against Mehmed II of the Ottoman Empire, who demands his loyalty.
Yes,
But Vlad, of course, is a protector of his land and his people, and basically wages a scorched earth policy, against the Ottoman hordes, and in doing so earns his reputation as an absolutely ruthless enemy.
totally.
And of course, yeah, he did famously impale countless people, but was also responsible for like many other just savage acts of cruelty
Exactly.
that most people don't even know about.
Yeah,
Like, you
but you
thought
know
the
what?
impaling was
Yeah,
bad. He
yeah,
did some really
but
bad stuff.
yeah, but the point is,
Yeah.
he's not a monster. He's a
Mhm.
typical man of his own age. In
Yes.
that period, every single counter or king or even the simple soldier of knights was the life was nothing.
I mean, that life was cruel in general, right?
Totally
And
true. I mean,
and especially when you keep in mind how outnumbered he was. He had a much, much smaller army, so you got
yeah,
to think those tactics were, I suppose, a way to intimidate his enemies, and I think, to make them fear him. And I think it worked. Anyhow, I think that you beautifully illustrated some of these very cruel tactics.
thank you.
I love the battle scenes, especially, all the snow-swept fields of Transylvania. It feels like very cold and brutal,
Brutal,
which
totally brutal.
which which that's how I felt like it, which is really the cold reality of that situation that he was
Yeah,
in. Like,
yeah.
you feel that, right? And the bright red of the blood so really stands out on that. Which,
Thank
of
you.
course, that's a great reminder of who he's an inspiration for. The
Yeah.
blood will always be that.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, it's very, it's this kind of gothic and dark ages for me. It's for an artist, it's really cool. And Vlad the Impaler was one of the most incredible character of the age. So it's gonna be, it was fun.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I love it. Do you think now, like, uh, would you say were you a big Dracula fan prior to this? And would you ever be interested in doing other projects involving, say, Dracula or
Oh,
even
for sure. Oh,
vampires in general?
yes, with Mateo, we have the idea
Mhm.
to go over because the story is not at the end of in this trilogy, because
Oh, okay.
Vlad Tepes go ahead with his own history and for the history. So it's no, there's much more to tell. We'll see.
Absolutely. Oh wow. Okay, I'm really looking forward to that. Um, and so I guess the rest of the interview will be Dracula questions, and that
Fine,
would be, what is your
go.
favorite Dracula movie, and who is your favorite Dracula?
Oh my goodness. So it's pretty easy for the modern age. For sure, the Coppola's movie and Gary Oldman was it's incredible. I mean, I think it's we can see the real man, the real count, and the real monster in the same time. And
Uh,
fantastic. I
yeah.
love the way they did in the classic, the old fashioned special effects. So really, I can see the movie. I can see the entertainment. No super CGI, no super special effects. It was a real movie. And for sure, Christopher Lee for me it's one of my favorite one. But even Werner Herzog, Dracula, the Nosferatu was not bad at all. But
Mhm.
a bit silly, maybe looking at my eyes and the modern eyes was not really uh, scary, but seems like a freak, but was an icon. So that's why. Yeah, one,
Absolutely.
two,
Yeah.
three.
I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, personally, yeah, Coppola's Dracula is my favorite. So yeah, good answer. And would you say Gary Oldman's your favorite Dracula?
Yeah, totally,
Yeah. Yep.
totally.
And now, if you could have one of Dracula's powers, what would it be?
Hey, this is a good question.
Yeah.
Longevity, but not alone. I mean, I think they are going to act exactly like him. Alone, super sad. He
Yeah.
can be longevity with my wife and my kids forever. Maybe why not?
That actually also kind of answers my last question, which would be, if you had the choice to become immortal, but you would be a vampire, would you do it?
Yeah. Only if I'm not alone.
Right. That's a great answer. Absolutely.
Yeah,
But the thing is, you're if you're immortal, that's the thing. Ultimately, you're gonna lose everybody, and you will
exactly.
outlive
That's the
everyone.
point.
So
So
it's a difficult choice to make because
yeah. If you
it's
want to
the
be a human being, you have to be mortal. No way.
yeah. And
Sad.
I did have before we go, I just had one request here, for my good friend Ignacio, who's also a great artist. Guys, check out Killaroo. Yeah, that's an awesome comic. That is I believe will be out soon. And he is asking if you could say, "My name is Ignacio." It's an
Ignacio.
inside joke, I guess.
You have to say my name is
He wants you to
Ignacio.
say, "My name is Ignacio."
I didn't understand. What the drag accent?
Okay, well, we tried, Ignacio. That's all right.
Ignacio.
I love bugging him. Anyhow, I don't want to keep you much longer, but thank you so much for doing this.
Oh, I thank you so much for your time. Anytime, next
I'm
time, whatever you want. I'm so sorry again for the last time we get some trouble, but I enjoyed to stay with you, man, and very into interview. You're half Italian, so it's much easier.
I'm an honorary Italian, absolutely.
Yeah, and I hope
Yeah.
to meet you in person very soon. And if you want to organize something in Canada,
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, definitely. Yep. Yeah. We'll definitely keep in touch. And I would
totally,
definitely love to have you back on the show to talk about
totally,
the continuation of Bunny Mask, the continuation of Maniac of New York. And as I'm so excited to find out more of the Vlad Dracula as well.
for
So,
sure, for sure.
oh, wow. Yeah, that made my night. Absolutely. So, yes, thank you, Andrea. Thank you to everyone watching. Thank you to everyone in the chat.
Thank you guys for your patience and your attention. Thank you,
All
Drac.
right.
You
Thank
are
you.
the